What's up, WAM fam? It's Wednesday. You know what that means. You get the wine, we'll bring the movies. Today we're going to be whining. Well, I'm not going to be whining about anything. Fans of the show, you may recall last week my co-host, Chel. Where are you, Chel?
Over here in New York.
Yes, Chel, the connoisseur herself, had some fighting words for me last week.
Yeah, because if anybody's listened to the show, you know Brendan hates every single movie we have watched. He has not had anything good to say about any movie besides Disaster Artist was the only movie that you were like, yeah, this movie was cool. Every other movie you're like,
It was great.
I don't know. So I gave you homework though. Did you come back with your homework?
Yes, I did. And for those just joining us, my name is Brendan. I'm an LA-based filmmaker, writer, and director. And I guess a very avid critic of films. When with this weekly bicoastal podcast, we pair up one of the big Hollywood releases with a very fine wine. And Chel is our New York counterpart. Chel, what's up in the wine world today?
Nothing much. For new listeners tuning in, I am Chel, the wine drinker, wine writer, and wine lover of this little duo here, even though I'm slowly converting Brendan into being one as well. Nothing really going on in the wine world here. Have a couple fun dinners this week, but basically making it through the cold New York and prepping for the Oscars this weekend.
Yes, we are. And before we get there, and we're going to be talking about two movies, one of which I think they're both going to do great next weekend at the award show. But today we are going to be hitting up my two favorite movies of 2017. You may have seen them. First one, Blade Runner 2049. Any Blade Runner fans out there?
Boo.
Boo, what?
Boo.
Are you? Oh my God. Boo, I did not even expect. I didn't know, Chel, you're full-blown boo? You really?
Brendan, I've tried to watch that movie twice. I fell asleep for the second half of it every time, so I don't even know how it ends, and I couldn't bring myself to watch it again.
That's the most important part. Oh my gosh. This is not a 90-minute, hits you over the head with redundant expository dialogue kind of movie. This is. Oh, she's making a face. Folks, this is a podcast, but you should see the eyes that Chel's throwing at me right now. She really didn't like it. All right, folks. Well, Chel, let's
talk about something I do like, which is wine.
Okay.
Which is something.
Okay.
Let's talk about the wine. Your two movies were Blade Runner 2049 and the other one was Get Out. Those are your two movies of 2017 that you enjoyed, right?
Yes, I loved them both.
I also loved Get Out. I thought it was really good. I wanted to pair one wine for both of these movies.
Is that even possible?
Well, it is if you're me, because the way I paired them, I think it works well. So Get Out, it starts in Brooklyn and then they go upstate. And so I picked an upstate New York wine because we're both from upstate New York. So I thought this would be fun to try to drink something from our hood. I mean, even though it's not from our hood, they don't make wine as far up where we live. New York is known for making its Rieslings.
Oh, really? I had no idea that we were in wine country.
We are not, but the Finger Lakes is wine country, Hudson Valley is wine country, Long Island is wine country. So I was like, let's do a fun upstate New York wine. And the reason I picked a Riesling is because you brought up a good point to me that you enjoyed Blade Runner 2049 because it was this classic movie that has a really diehard fan following, right?
The original, yeah, huge. One of the most influential sci-fi movies of all time.
Yeah, and so I've never seen the original, but Riesling is kind of like that to some people. People love Riesling, love it, live for Riesling. And I'm really not one of those girls. Riesling has a good following and I'm just not about that life. So
I gotta say, I'm 3 sips in. I'm a fan. This is great.
Yeah, it depends on which one you get. So some of them are really, really good. I had an amazing Riesling from California from Trefethen Winery. It was really, really good. And then I've also had really crappy ones that have been super sweet, which you would call a dry or an off dry or a semi-sweet wine. And I don't really like those. And the one that I do have though, that I do like is from upstate New York. It's from Brotherhood Winery, which is actually America's oldest winery.
No kidding.
Is in New York. You'd think it'd be in California, but it's in New York.
That's very surprising. What got me is that I'm drinking a Riesling. It's also Riesling.
A Riesling.
A Ron Weasley, Mr. Potter.
It's Riesling.
Weasley. It's a snow. Well, because the name of it is Snoqualmie. Snoqualmie. Have you ever heard of this one?
No.
It is from Washington State. I wanted to go something up north to somehow maybe, I don't know if the Northwest and the Northeast are comparable.
Upstate West Coast.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Did you end up with a dry or an off dry?
I think it's an off dry.
Yeah, which will give you some of those more residual sugars left over, which give it's more silky on your palate.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're going to get those sweet notes and you're going to get tropical fruits. I was just giving one of my followers advice that an off dry Riesling like that would pair awesome with a bowl of chili. because the spice and chili and the sugar kind of acts as like this gateway between the wine and the chili and the spice. It would be a really good pairing. Can you see yourself eating a bowl of chili and drinking that?
I am morbidly intrigued. Yes, that does sound like... I've never thought of pairing chili with anything. Chili is always one of those kinds of things where it's like, chili is one of those wild card dishes. Like, I'm never expecting it to be the same dish twice, depending on where I go or where I get it. Because I don't even know what's in chili. I think it's beans and, like, meatloaf and tomato sauce.
Meatloaf? No, it's just, like, ground beef, beans, tomatoes. It's got, like, spices like cumin, and it usually has a little bit of spice in it. I mean, I'm a big chili fan. No beans, though. I don't do, like, the bean to chili thing.
I could give it a whirl. I got, guess what? Nickel sale. I got 2 bottles, $15.
I hate this nickel shit you get because I don't get that here, and it's really annoying.
Folks, if you got Bevmo in your town, you gotta hit up Bevmo because like 1 in every 10 or 15 bottles is buy one get one for 5 cents.
Yeah, well, I need to move to California because I don't have that, but we could do a podcast for a year without me having to buy a bottle of wine.
As long as you can pair, let's do it.
It's called Cleaning Out Chel's Inventory. How can I make this wine pair with a movie? I'm just kidding. I do put thought into like what I'm doing though with the pairing. So
yeah, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show because you pair a wine with a movie, and apparently you don't like Rieslings and you don't like Blade Runner. Now, before we get into this, you said you hadn't seen the original now though either, right?
No, because that came out like 30 years ago, right?
It was definitely in the 80s. I want to say it was like 1980. It came out in 1982. It's based on a novel by Philip K. Dick called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Now, have you heard of Philip K. Dick before? He is one of the most renowned sci-fi authors probably of all time. A lot of his books have been adapted. Have you seen Total Recall?
No.
Minority Report?
Maybe. Sounds familiar.
Oh, but Tom Cruise and the precogs and seeing into the future?
I've seen Cocktails.
Similar. Precogs, Cocktails, same difference, right?
Same thing.
Paycheck, that was a John Woo film with Ben Affleck. I want to see there was another Arnold movie too, but a lot of the best sci-fi movies have been based on this man's works.
I feel like I should know this because my dad's like a sci-fi junkie.
A Scanner Darkly. Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You've probably seen... Man, I thought he did iRobot too. No, that was Isaac Asimov. The Man in the High Castle, that was one of his first books. It's set in an alternate history as if the Allies had lost World War II and it was ruled by Axis powers.
Sounds so intriguing.
Not your jam, huh? Well, okay, so let's break it down. So what is it? I'm curious as to what it was that you didn't...
Can you give listeners who also fell asleep during the movie the plot of like what happens in this movie?
So, you take the main character. This is going to be spoilers. We're going to break this thing down and talk about it.
Please, because I need all the help I can get, apparently, because this movie was boring as shit.
Did you know that Ryan Gosling was a robot?
Yes, I knew that from the beginning because...
He was a replicant, yep. It's Blade Runner 2049. It's set more like, in terms of like technological leaps, probably 60 years in the future. The first one took place in 2019, and that was made, 35 years ago. So the movie's more like 60 years in the future kind of thing. Excuse me. But the idea is that the world has a huge population of cybertronic. It's kind of like a slave labor force of cyborgs who are serving the greater needs of of humanity, looking into interplanetary exploration to help build worlds off of our own. There's a line, Jared Leto's character, who's kind of the main supervillain in this. Interesting point is that all great civilization were built off the backs of a slave force. So now, and the idea in this is that the slave force are these androids that they're creating, or replicants. They're replications of people. And there's an older model, kind of like everyone's got an iPhone 6 now, or 7, or an 8. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine if Apple sent out agents to destroy iPhones 1s, 2s, and 3s because they just wanted them off the market.
Okay.
So Ryan Gosling is that evil Apple employee going back to destroy all of the old iPhones. Now, the iPhones are walking, talking people type things. And the most interesting thing about this is that the themes of the movie really toyed with, like, what does it mean to be human? Is it the fact that you have memories, that you can reproduce, free will? This is an idea that is kind of lightly alluded to in the original, because in the original, Harrison Ford, who plays the main character as a hunter, a Blade Runner as they call them, the people that go out and kill the replicants, whether it's a human or a replicant themselves. There's actually like 5 different cuts of the original movie, because like one's the director's cut, but it wasn't really really the director's cut. There's a TV release version that had certain scenes removed, so no one really knew for sure. It was hotly debated in the sci-fi world as to whether or not Harrison Ford's character really was a human or a replicant, and this film seems to have steered the idea toward that he was a replicant the whole time, but the idea was that he was still kind of his own entity, and because he's there hunting people of his own kind. So, and now Ryan Gosling he's now playing the lead replicant, who's essentially doing the same thing that Harrison Ford was done. He's the muscle being used by LAPD in this case, or whatever the police force is, to take out all of their old targets. So it's a bounty hunter movie. How do you not like a bounty hunter movie? It's just like...
It was, but it was so slow. It was just like nothing was happening. I don't know. I felt like there was no plot. There was no like connection. Like I have to be invested in the characters, and I just couldn't be invested in Ryan Gosling because I get that he was like a replicant or whatever, but like he had no emotion, and there was nothing for me to latch onto in this movie.
And it's tough to make that leap, emotionally, when he's a very poker face type main character
the whole time. And like I love Ryan Gosling, don't get me wrong, like The Notebook, Take Me Back, like he is great. But like in this movie, I was just like, dude, this is so dull. That's probably why I fell asleep twice. And like he had like a fake girlfriend kind of thing that was hanging out with him, like a
hologram.
It was so fun.
That he buried weird in his pen. Yeah, it was kind of weird and creepy. It's like, hey, like that world's not too far off.
Yeah, I guess so.
You can rent
but, like,
friends in Japan. You can just rent a friend for the day because people are lonely.
I guess it's kind of the same thing. But Brendan, this movie was just like so dull. And like earlier you're like everybody loved this movie, and like everybody I've talked to has not loved this movie.
Actually, I mean, I think it made less than $100 million domestic box office, which is...
But it's also got nominated for all these awards.
Because it was awesome, and it was visually stunning. All right,
it didn't get Best Picture or anything, but it did get like
production
best
design,
editing,
cinematography, visual effects. It was like, I mean, every shot was gorgeous. So even if you slept through a bunch of it, you must have been able to appreciate the other parts that you saw.
Everything was so gray, though. It was so bleak and gray. Like, is that what 2040...
It's called dystopian future.
I know. Is that what 2049 is really going to be like, though? Because that's coming up, and I'm going to be alive for that, so that's going to suck.
When the first one came out, the idea was, like, 30 years in the future, dystopian world. Like, I think 30 is just kind of the round number that a lot of movies use because it's...
Okay.
Yeah, they're just sort of throwing it out there. Because I think, honestly, like, if we are where they are suggesting we are, like, technologically... in terms of space exploration or whatever, in 30 years, that would be awesome. I don't think the world would be totally overcast yet. Yeah, it's like they're living like a Matrix world where it's just like
it was weird.
Eternally blacked out and dark. And like I mean, if you remember the orphanage in San Diego that he goes back to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. You know, times look tough. Yeah.
I was actually reading an article. Rutger Hauer, do you know? He was in the original one.
Okay.
The robot man with the gray hair and the blue eyes.
Sure, probably the main character. Yeah, the main villain.
Yes.
Replicant.
So he actually like gave a review on this movie and he hated it.
Really? I wonder why he hated it.
It looks great, but I struggle to see why the film was necessary. I just think if something is so beautiful, you should just leave it alone and make another film. Don't lean with one elbow on the success that was earned over 30 years ago in the underground.
That's a fair accusation to make for some movies that just try to recycle something, like The Hangover 2, a movie that comes out 3 years later and recycles literally every single joke.
Yeah, that plot line's the same in every movie, but...
Like, that first movie kind of hinted at or kind of edged around the question of, like, what is humanity? How do you define humanity? And this was truly, like, what is it that makes you human? Because, I mean, we're coming up to a time where these aren't going to be hypothetical sci-fi questions. These are going to be, like, real-world scenarios.
Yeah. Do you think it was maybe Ryan Gosling as an actor? Because he said it's not a character-driven movie, and there's no humor, there's no love, there's no soul. You can see homage to the original, but that's not enough for me. I knew that wasn't going to work, but I think it's not important what I think. People are arguing with him in the comments. They're like, dude, this film is all about love. This is what it is. It's like this whole movie is, like you said, are you a real human or not? I feel like maybe if I watched the original, like maybe I would be able to understand that more because I like a movie with deeper meaning, but like I just couldn't get into it.
The first one may have prompted you maybe a little bit to get into like the style of it, because it's not a movie that hits you over the head with a theme. It's the kind of thing that you really have to dwell on and think about. Like, the movie certainly wasn't overwritten as far as dialogue goes, which I think is to the detriment of many other big releases because they just tell you things over and over. over. They don't give you any room to think. And maybe you've fallen asleep, kind of like me last week. Maybe I missed a crucial detail. Maybe you missed something that may have swayed your judgmental.
I don't know. Like, I tried, and I felt like I was almost there when, when they're going through those facial scans and they have to repeat all the lines to make sure that they're like
the baseline test.
Yeah, where they haven't gone like off the wire or whatever. And then he starts kind of like going off the wire, and his boss is like, I can tell that you're like off the baseline. Like, and it's like you almost see him like, oh, is he human? Is he not? Does he have these emotions? So like I almost got into it, but like I just thought it was so slow. It was just so boring. And I like action movies. This wasn't, and you can't classify this as an action movie. What do you classify this as? Like, it's not a thriller. It was just like
I would call it almost a sci-fi. I not want to call it a mystery movie, kind of a film noir sort of. It's thriller, but it's the happy medium of thriller and mystery movie. And not a whodunit, but
I guess maybe I'll try to watch it again, but let me tell you, I spent $20 on this on my Fios account, and I was not happy.
Wow, I rented it for $5 on the internet yesterday.
Oh, well, Pete had to buy it because Pete's like, I hear this movie is awesome.
Oh,
super pumped to watch it.
Oh, you're in the money then. You're good. You get to watch it over and over.
Yeah, Pete was like, I hear this movie's great. We need to buy it. Pete and I both fell asleep. Both times.
I would definitely recommend the first one then. That'll set you up maybe a little bit. But this one, it stands alone well on its own. What I think this movie rubs some people not the wrong way off, but it's not a very, I don't want to say it's not commercially viable. I just think people went into it thinking, hey, oh, this is going to be cool, like The Matrix, and Ryan Gosling's going to be the one. Maybe not like the one over the top, but that's the thing. He's not the one in this. And the whole movie sets it up like, hey, this character is going to be the orphan son of Harrison Ford, the other main character from the first movie, and he's going to be the key to the success of the uprising of the replicants versus the humans as proof that they can reproduce. You'll get it when you see the movie if you don't understand this rambling right now. But that's the thing. He's not the hero in that sense. He's the protagonist of this story, but, not everybody in real life is a hero. And I think this movie spoke to that very well in the sense that just because you aren't the resistance leader and you aren't the emblematic person of whatever doesn't mean that you can't make a difference too. It was like he wasn't the child, but
he still did something beneficial. Meh.
Meh?
Meh.
Did you ever see Pinocchio?
Yeah.
You like Disney movies? This is Pinocchio.
But Pinocchio at least is like relatable and like lovable, and you like can form an emotional attachment to a wooden doll.
This is true. Pinocchio is a boy. Okay, touche. Fair enough. He's a little more relatable. Pinocchio's a bit more relatable. I'll give you that one.
I guess I am kind of the oddball out here. This got an 87 on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics, and the audience gave it an 81. People did like it. I don't know how, but people did like it. I am
curious as to what the fans of the original thought the most, because, and what's even weird, like, 'cause, like, for 30 years, people were debating, was Harrison Ford's character a robot, a replicant, or not? And this movie, it kind of goes on the assumption, he says, I was like you one day, but I don't think they ever explicitly say that he was a robot. He says that the birth of his daughter was a miracle, but, any parent can say that, but it leaves, some questions open, like, hey, how will the forces at bay respond to this? Will the resistance finally happen? What will Harrison Ford and the Anna character do? But it's one of those movies that I don't think there's going to be a part 3. I don't think there needs to be.
Well, I don't think there needs to be a part 2, but I'm glad they made it. I'm glad that they did this. But I wasted $20 on it.
If you watch Total Recall, Philip K. Dick novel, watch. First off, Minority Report is a super cool Tom Cruise movie.
I will add that to my list.
Yes, Steven Spielberg. It's awesome. Based on a novel by the guy who wrote the novel based on this. And right now, Electric Dreams is a show on Amazon. I haven't seen it yet, but that is a series that's now been based on the same short story that inspired the predecessor to this film. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So yeah, I've heard very cool things about that show. It sounds kind of like Black Mirror. I don't know why I haven't watched it yet, actually. I should have totally done my extra credit homework and watched that.
I haven't watched Black Mirror either, so I'm behind on so many things.
Wow, that is...
No, but people said some of them are scary, and I don't do scary. I don't do that stuff. I don't watch anything that could possibly give me a nightmare. I don't do it.
This is like a daymare because it's just because
isn't
the haunting
it's
reality.
Real life?
Yeah, it's so essentially when you turn your cell phone off and you look at your cell phone, what are you looking at?
I don't know, a black screen.
A black mirror.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the idea. So like that show wrestles with the ideas of what the next stage of our technological societal conflux will be.
I feel like that's too real.
It's
And I don't know if I
yeah.
like want to face those realities. Right now I'm rewatching Gossip Girl, and that's like all I can handle right now.
This is like Gossip Girl with Facebook.
Yes, really bad.
Now, we were talking about baseline tests earlier. Do you have like a baseline test for sobriety? Like what's your trick? Cuz like sometimes you want to answer the questions faster. What's the Chel baseline for you've had one too many glasses of wine?
I can actually drink like a whole bottle before I realize I've had enough.
Now, this white wine it just feels so much lighter. We've been drinking Weds for like 2 straight months, and now we're on a Ries here. I don't know. It's 11%. You know, that's not like...
No, but that is a lower alcoholed wine. Some wines get up to like 16%.
Okay, because it's very smooth. Because this is like... It's like the milk that's left in your Fruity Pebbles full of cereal. Like, this is super sweet.
Yeah.
Like, I could go to town on this.
Yeah, and it's just like refreshing and nice. I mean, like I said, I don't love them. Like off-dry Rieslings, I don't love because I'm like a bone-dry wine kind of person. Like really, I like things that are really crisp and have a lot of minerals in them. And I don't really like that stone fruit flavor. I actually did this really cool thing called Vinome, and they take a sample of your DNA, like your spit. And
what?
Yeah, so it's kind of like ancestry DNA, but they do it for your palate, and they tell you what kind of wines you like based on your palate. I'm not joking. It was insanely accurate.
No way.
Yeah.
So is that something that's like, does everyone have like different bumps, size bumps in different places? Or is it like, hey, I can tell you've been drinking whiskey straight for 20 years?
No. It's like my DNA is like, I'm predisposed to like certain things. So like,
wow.
like certain alleles I have, like some of the ones I remember off the top of my head were like, I love bitter tasting things. So like I prefer black coffee, which was 100% true. It was that I have a sweet tooth, which is 1,000,000% true. So like I prefer sweet over salty.
You like black coffee?
I love black coffee. I only drink my coffee black.
There's a study that shows that like people who drink their coffee black have more psychotic tendencies than everyone.
Well, I 100% have 1,000,000 psychotic tendencies. I'm a Virgo. I'm the most anal retentive person in the world. I'm like a neurotic. Ask Pete. He's like, oh, he's Chelsea's psycho. And I don't drink caffeine either. I drink decaf coffee because I don't do caffeine.
Good for you.
Because I'm like...
Because the people that get like hung up in the mornings, like if you drink too much of it. I mean, that being said, if you drink 3 to 5 cups a day, it can help prevent dementia long term. Like I'm a big proponent of not having dementia. So yeah. I try to dabble with coffee.
Yeah, I don't do the dabbling. I don't. I've given it up for almost 7 months now because I am naturally crazy. I don't need any stimulants adding to the craziness. So, but my wine kit told me I don't like stone fruit flavors in wines, and that Riesling that you're drinking has a lot of stone fruit flavors in it. So like stone fruit would be like an apricot, a peach, you know, stuff like that. Oh. And I don't really care for those flavors. And I don't really care for tropical flavors that much either, like pineapple and lychee. I don't really care for those flavors either.
Right.
I like crisp and chocolatey and spicy. It depends what it was. But it told me red wine versus white wine. It was like the coolest thing I've ever done.
No, it sounds like I hope the trick to that one isn't just forfeiting your DNA to the government, because apparently Ancestry DNA, when you do that, it's just basically like, don't ever commit a crime again because we've got your DNA.
Shit, I almost got that for Cody for his birthday.
And what was the name of the site though? That sounds really cool.
Vinome.
It's like genome, but I don't get the V.
Wine, vineyard, Vinome.
Vineyard, okay, Vinome.
So it's, and because then when you...
Sounds like a supervillain.
Yeah, right?
Well, Venom. You seen the trailer for Venom?
No.
Really? It's the Spider-Man. It's the Tom Hardy. He's like tripping in a hospital bed.
Yes, I love Tom Hardy, but Tom Hardy's always the bad guy.
Well, you didn't see Dunkirk yet, did you?
Yes, I did.
Well, he was just chilling in the plane.
Yeah, he was. He didn't really do much.
Very expressive with his eyes.
He is. Oh man, I love Tom Hardy. Sign me up. I love him.
I was gonna say, Chel. I mean, this is a very tasty wine. It seems like I was gonna say a summer party wine. It reminds me of the scene in the movie Get Out where they're all having a big auction off party in their backyard to the rights to Daniel Kaluuya's body in Get Out.
Yeah, how wild was that movie?
I had no idea that was coming.
Nobody warned me that this movie was about. They're like, it's a thriller. It's like a relevant, like, what do people describe it to me as? They're like, it's a 2015 or 2017 horror movie. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this. I was like, I hate horror movies. Like, that is one thing I will never go see. And then Pete was like, come on, let's watch it. It'll be fun. And it was not a horror movie at all. It was like a social experiment piece. I don't know. It was wild. I loved it.
In some ways, it was kind of like a modern day Psycho. Ever seen Psycho? Alfred
Yeah.
Hitchcock's classic. Yeah, that. I mean,
It kind of
there's-
was.
You know, the stories. In some ways, yeah, because like he was being possessed, and there was a possession, neurologically.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to not spoil. I'm gonna be vague as much as I can and not.
This has been out for a while too. So if you haven't seen this, sorry guys. Turn the
Okay,
episode
yeah.
off now
Turn
because
the
this has
episode
been
off now,
out.
let's rip it apart.
This has been out for a year already. So
It premiered at Sundance. I wonder how many movies that had premiered at Sundance have ever won Best Picture, because I think this is gonna win it.
I don't think it's gonna win it. I don't think
Jordan
it is.
Peele, I think, will win Best Director. It's probably gonna win Best Screenplay too. Picture might be tough.
I don't think it's gonna win anything.
What? Are you crazy, Chelsea?
No.
What?
I've watched all the other award shows and they've gotten nominated, but they haven't won anything. And I think they're up against a lot of competition this year. And I don't think they're going to win anything. Don't get me wrong. I loved this movie. I thought it was so good. I thought Allison Williams was like good, but she annoys me. It's nominated for 4 Oscars. And I don't think it's going to win.
Man, it's my pick of litter for the year. And what's crazy is, well, I mean, because it premiered at Sundance, then it came out shortly thereafter. A lot of the times, the movies that come out in January and February are the ones that the studios are kind of trying to bury, because they're hoping the movies that are gonna get basically the leftover ticket sales when you can't go see Jumanji because it's sold out. But you don't think it's gonna win anything? Wow, I loved it. I think it is my favorite movie of the year, because it wasn't even like. It was kind of a satire, not just as genres have evolved in film history, they reach to a point that filmmakers start to spoof them before things before there's a whole like sort of revolution in the genre at all. And this was kind of like a satire just sort of on society. There's people out there that try too hard to try to make up for the mistakes of ancestors in the past. Do you know what I mean? And like this movie, I think, played with the notion of you can't just forgive and forget, and they ran with it.
They definitely did. I mean, I was not expecting this movie at all, but like, what if there actually is a group of old ass white people in upstate New York who have found a way to put themselves in other people's bodies?
That's terrifying.
Yeah. But Daniel Kaluuya was kick-ass in this movie. I thought he was so good. Like, I don't even know how you put yourself in a role, like, how you even put yourself in the mindset to play a role like this. It was crazy.
Yeah, he was terrified. I loved it too. I mean, and I was petrified for him too. I was genuinely spooked. Like I jumped. I ran. Do you remember when the guy was running toward his character toward the camera, and then he just turns right at the last second?
Yes.
Did you see all the memes that were floating around like that week after that online?
No, I don't think I saw it.
Oh, look it up. I don't know what it's called. Probably Get Out running meme. It's really funny because like there's the shot where he's running through the woods straight at Daniel's character. Chris? I think his name is Chris.
Yep.
Running straight at Chris, and then he veers off to the left at the last minute and runs off. And it looks like he's going to be attacked, and then he goes off. Oh, yeah, there's a million people that were running with that. No pun intended, for weeks after the movie came out.
I know.
You could do it right now. Hashtag Get Out running meme, and you'd be gangbusters online.
Yeah, because they're calling it the hashtag Get Out Challenge.
The Get Out Challenge. There you go, yeah.
Run for your life. Have you tried the Get Out Challenge?
Mm-hmm.
I can handle like thrillers, but I can't handle like stupid, scary.
Jumps. You don't like the jumps when it's really quiet and all of a sudden the sting.
Yeah, or like the stupid paranormal activity movies and stuff like that. Like I hate that stuff so much.
The sensory overload. It's like all of a sudden it's loud and bright out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's loud and it's bright and you don't know what's coming. And I hate stuff that I can't see or like touch. So I don't watch those kind of movies. And I thought this is what this was going to be, but this was just like a old school thriller. Like, did it almost give you like 80s thriller vibes, kind of like older movie? Like it was very relevant in its social issues, but like I feel like the way they did it was I feel like I could have seen an old school movie like this in the 80s. With like a different plot.
Sure, and maybe where that comes from is just the sheer kind of simplicity of it. I mean, it wasn't
maybe
a
that's
huge
what it
production.
was.
I think it was a very practical movie. It cost like $4.5 million, and it made like more than $250 million. It was a huge success. But the point being, last week we did Black Panther, which was great, but it was this huge spectacle, and you never could have made that movie 30 years ago. And you see something like this that comes out that's just so simple, raw, primal, and good. It makes you wonder, like, oh, where's this been for the last 15 years? Because we've been conflating projects with all of this nonsense over the topness. That being said, Blade Runner 2049 probably had a colossal budget, and it was visually stupendous, but it was still great. But
it made you think a lot. This was a movie that actually made me think a lot. Like, Blade Runner didn't make me think about stuff. It's like, what if something like this would actually happen? And just the whole, like, white people thinking black is cool and black is in, so that's why they wanted to be in like a black person's body. And just, like, you can still tell that there's no, like, equality there. Like, they're forcing the equality, like the white people are trying to.
Right, their forced forgiveness is doing more harm than good.
I don't know, but the one thing I will say about these awards, though, is that Betty Gabriel, who played Grandma.
Oh, she was great.
She was amazing, and she, like, didn't get any, like, supporting actress nominations.
It was a really
nothing.
tiny part.
It was, but, like, I was talking to somebody, I don't remember who it was, but there's, like, no, like, certain amount of lines you need to speak to be
nominated.
Like, a supporting, yeah, like.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because, oh gosh, what's her name? My friend, also from upstate New York, looks just like her. Anne Hathaway. Yes, my friend Laura looks just like Anne Hathaway. It's crazy.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway's not in that movie.
No, I was gonna say because Anne Hathaway won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar, Les Mis, a couple years ago, and I think she has like 5 lines. She sang a song, a really good song, but
I also hated that movie.
Really?
Yeah, Les Mis was so boring.
Les Miserables.
It literally was Les Miserable. I'm, like, not a fan of it at all, but
you wanted to see Greatest Showman, though, right? I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, because, like, Hugh Jackman sucked in Les Mis, but, like, Hugh Jackman would probably be really good in The Greatest Showman. That movie, like, got a lot of hype, and then it died down really fast, and some people loved it, some people hated it. It was, like, very torn.
Yeah, I was going to go see it last week, but then I went to see Annihilation. Showman is one of the last few big ones that I have yet to see. I'm going to try to catch it before the Oscars this Sunday. Is there anything else that, I guess we're going to place our final bets right now. This is it. What do you got?
Okay, let me pull up. I want to pull up the
list?
The list of nominations. Let's see. Oscar. I'm also going to be in Florida for the nomination, for the award show.
Oh, nice.
I leave for Florida Saturday morning, so I'll be hanging out with Patricia while we watch the Oscars. So for leading actor in a leading role, we have Timothée Chalamet. We have Daniel Day-Lewis from Phantom Thread. We have Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out. Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour, and Denzel for Roman J. Israel Esquire. Who do you think out of those?
Best actor?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I feel like Daniel Kaluuya could win for this one.
From what I've heard, I'm going Winston Churchill. Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour. I might go see that movie right now.
I didn't watch it. Yeah, I feel like I need to go see it.
Winston Churchill has so many amazing quotes. He's hilarious. Like, any funny line you've heard from, like, someone in the 20th century, it was probably him. He's so good.
Okay, so you're going Gary Oldman. I'm going to write this down so that when we talk next week...
gosh, going on record. I can't just be talking out of my...
B. Nagle of Bagel Video is going with Gary Oldman for Best Actor. And Chel Loves Wine is going with Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we'll just stick with the big categories here.
Sure, yeah, that's not the main.
Actress in a leading role, we got Sally Hawkins from Shape of Water, Frances McDormand from 3 Billboards. We got Margot Robbie from I, Tonya. We have Saoirse Ronan from Lady Bird, and Meryl Streep from The Post.
So tough besides The Post. So tough.
Yeah, because I've seen all those movies and I love them, but I'm going Frances McDormand because she's won all the other awards. I think Margot Robbie, it was like a courtesy. She was really good, but I think it was just like a courtesy. Saoirse Ronan won. She won the Golden Globes, I believe, or the SAG Awards, maybe SAG-AFTRA. But I'm gonna go Frances.
Okay, I figured you might have. I'm going Sally Hawkins, Shape of Water.
Okay, we'll do directing because I feel like that's a sweet spot for you. We got Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, and Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water.
I may step back on what I said about Get Out because it was probably more of a screenplay than anything else that I really like. I mean, The directing comes through.
I'm going Guillermo.
I have got to say, Dunkirk, while I'm not a huge, massive fan of the film overall, just from a sheer, it put you there. It put you in the war, and there wasn't a whole lot of a narrative to really carry you through it, but the experience was amazing, and I'm going to go Dunkirk.
Christopher Nolan, okay. All right, and then we'll do Best Picture. This is going to be the hard one. So our official list is Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Cannot say Call Me by Your Name. Haven't seen it. I doubt it. Darkest Hour. Gonna see it soon. Dunkirk. No. Get Out. There's not a lot of love overall. I feel like sometimes there's a huge winner, like Titanic 111, Lord of the Rings 111. There's not going to be a big clean sweep this year, that's for sure.
No, and I'm really torn between 3 Billboards and The Shape of Water.
Oh.
I don't think Lady Bird's going to win. I think, if anything, The Shape of Water might win. Or, I don't know, the Oscars are always a wild card, too.
I'm going Get Out.
Okay.
Yep. I am.
If Get Out wins, I feel like we need to put a wager on this because I don't think it's going to win at all. And I feel like you're really confident. So I feel like I don't even know. I'll pay for your movie pass for 2 months or something.
I'll take it. That's fine. What's your guess?
I'm going The Shape of Water.
And if The Shape of Water wins, I will. I was gonna say I'll buy your wine for the next 2 months, but you've got more. You've got so much wine.
I have enough for an army.
I'll get your movie pass for 2 months.
All right, done. I'll Venmo you $20 if you win.
It's in. For everybody else, as many that's 60 screenings for $20.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Go get movie pass now. I can't believe Disaster Artist only got nominated for adapted screenplay.
Yeah, it's because James Franco is a sexual predator, so they couldn't nominate them for anything.
This whole industry's falling apart because of that.
Well,
not falling apart. It's just like it's a schism. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, men should not be creeps, and they should learn they can't get away with it. So, shame on them.
I'm surprised it hasn't spilled into anything outside of Hollywood lately.
No, it has.
Hollywood's the most obvious industry that it's going to happen in.
It has. It's happened in the food world. Like, a ton of high-ranking chefs have gotten taken down.
Wow.
It's like spread to other things. It's happened in a lot of hotels with like workers who haven't been able to speak up. It's definitely gone to other industries, but obviously it's most prevalent in Hollywood because we know most of those people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I get that's fair. The spotlight's there, so makes sense. Well, cool. Well, the Riesling was great. I'm going to
What do you give the wine? What do you give the wine? And what do you give each
great.
movie? And what do you give each movie? Out of 5 stars, what do you give the wine and each movie?
Out of 5 stars... Oh, wow. It's hard to even... I don't even know what I would strike from Get Out. I don't want to say 5 because that's a bold statement, but I'm going to go...
You can give the 5.
It didn't change my life, and I will not... I don't know if I think it's too soon to give it a 5. I don't know if I'm going to remember it in 10 years as vividly as I do now. And for
it's
that
been
reason,
a year, though, already.
Yeah, Get Out's 5. It's great. I loved it.
Guys, you heard it here.
No, 4.5. 4.5. No. I retract 4.5. 4.5. Can't happen.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
It's okay. See, it's a good flick. Yeah. Couldn't round up, though.
And I give Blade Runner a 0 out of 5.
Wow, that's crazy. That's weird because I gave it a 4.5. I'm sure you were a little off in your estimate, Charles. A 0. It looks cool. Have you ever heard of...
It doesn't even look cool. Everything was gray. It was so boring.
It doesn't even look cool. Have you ever heard...
Everything was so boring. So boring.
It was beautiful. Roger Deakins, best cinematography. It needs to at least get a 0.5 for that.
I thought it was boring and gray.
Los Angeles is always gray. We've got a smog layer.
No, it's not. New York is always gray. I see it all the time. When I watch a movie, I want to be transported somewhere else, not where I already live. I'll give this one a 0.5 to please you.
Thank you. We're on the book. We're on the scoreboard.
It was whatever. What'd you think of the wine?
The wine was great. So I'd see, and I love this now. Now that I've had you've been drinking these reds for weeks, and it's but this is like a party wine. It's 8 o'clock at night, but now and it's not just the wine talking, but just the flavors.
It's fun. You can go watch Blade Runner 49 and drink that wine, and I'll go drink not that wine and watch not that movie, and it'll be perfect night.
It's a good pairing. And folks, if you think this paired it up well too, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with your friends and your fam.
Give us a 5-star review. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media. Again, I'm Chelsea at Chel Loves Wine. And then we have Brendan at Bagel Video. And you can follow our joint account at Wine About Movies. Post all the good stuff on there, the wines we're drinking, in case you're ever interested on the exact labels we have from the shows.
Yes.
We look forward to... Oh, how could I almost forget? You guys need to make sure you watch the Oscars Sunday night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the red carpet starting at 6 p.m., which is my favorite part of everything. Oh my God, I just remembered. My mom only streams TV, so I have to make sure I can watch the show.
Ooh, you're going to be in Florida. That's right.
Patricia's like hip now, and she like does
She's streaming?
streaming. She like only does streaming. She's like, I'm not paying for cable. I'm just streaming everything from DirecTV Now or something like that.
Tell you what, I'll just go to the Dolby Theater and I'll get my Facebook and I'll go live and just record the whole thing.
You should.
I tried to sneak in 5 years ago. It didn't work.
No?
I had all the cops on my side too. Was it fun? I'll share the picture. Yeah, it was funny.
We will be there one day, and I actually will be drinking the official wine of the Oscars, Piper Heidsieck. So,
ooh, that's good. Have we already got a pairing for next week then?
We don't, because we don't know what movie we're going to watch next week yet.
I thought it was Piper Heidsieck. Oh.
No, that's the wine. That's the name of the wine.
Shall we, if we haven't reviewed it yet, we should review the winner.
I do that, and I say we pair it with the champagne that is the official champagne of the Oscars.
That's perfect. All right. It's a date. It's on, folks. Mark your calendars. Next Wednesday, the post-Oscars episode drops. Let us know what you guys think about the pre-Oscar show in the comments below. Tell Chelsea how awesome Blade Runner 2049 was, because, like, she needs to understand this film was phenomenal.
Yeah, okay. Sure. If someone can convince me, I will. I don't even know what I'll do, but
we'll give you a discount to some sweet new headphones. Once again, thanks for joining us, WAM fam. We love you guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. 5 stars, follow, subscribe, check us out, and we will check you out too. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Arrivederci.